In a sense of deja vu as we meet after a defeat here at Starks Park, go and chat us through the 90 minutes from your perspective.
Yeah, bitterly disappointing today, that's for sure. I don't think there's any other way to dress it up in terms of our emotion right now and the way that myself and the players and the supporters will be feeling. It was one of those, it wasn't a bit bitty in the first half, and we get the opening goal, which kind of came out of nothing. Yeah. Delighted to be ahead, and then we have a crazy 15-minute spell where we lose a really poor first goal. It's probably the worst one in terms of not often in the season has a team gotten behind us like that and taken our whole 11 or 10 out the game with one simple pass, and we know the dangers that their striker can cause you with his speed and his strength, but we just didn't defend it very well, and I think coming from our throne as well, I mean it's really poor defensively as a team. And then obviously they scored another two quickly, quick succession, and again, opportunist goals, shall we say, but kind of second phase, free kick and then a corner kick, and that's the third game in a row now where we've conceded from a corner kick, so that's a worrying for myself.
Some of these themes are starting to kind of repeat in terms of a volume of goals, particularly lost at home, getting ourselves ahead, but not actually closing the game down. What's your thoughts in terms of what that missing ingredient is?
Yeah, it's hard at the moment because we're so close after the game. But the goals conceded, especially at home, is really alarming. We're conceding far too many. Not being ruthless enough at the other end either. But again, it comes down to a collective in the team, and include myself and the staff in that as well. We're as much in this as the lads, and nobody wants to lose as many goals as we're losing. So we have to look at it. We'd be foolish not to look at it and try to find ways to rectify it. That's what we'll do. The players will do that as well. So yeah, the disappointment today is it's a hard one for us. We've kind of slid a little bit in terms of our performance levels with the ball and without the ball, and as everybody knows in football, it's a long afternoon when you're not quite at it. Confidence maybe just dipped a little bit as well with certain players, and that's understandable. That's human nature. We can legislate for that, but we can't have too many at the same time.
You go adventurous with a back three today. What's your kind of view how that worked out? Well, I guess ultimately, two goals
it didn't work. That's the bottom line, and you have to get a lot of plaudits when it goes right for you, and you take all that. You've got to take the criticism when it comes your way as well, and bear that in mind. And yeah, hindsight is, I've always said, a wonderful thing in football, a wonderful thing in any walk of life that we do. And probably formation's wrong at the start of the game. In saying that, if you get to half time 1-0 up, which could have happened, then it looks good. So we changed it to about 4 at half time. We just felt we had to try and get our full backs up the park and get a few more players up the park. But yeah, look, it's worked for us in a few occasions this season. Today wasn't one of them. So we have to go away, and I have to go away as a manager and have a look at my decisions.
We do go a goal up, and then kind of we enter this tailspin kind of period. And one of the things I was reflecting upon is previous teams I've watched, you think, is it a team that's got character? And it strikes me that you've got a dressing room full of character and big personalities. How do you nail down what that missing ingredient is to take the big decisions on the park?
Yeah, it's difficult. We have got a lot of character. We've got a lot of heart in the team as well. We've shown that numerous times this season. But the last 4 or 5 games, we, as you said, we've taken the leading games, and then somehow we walk away with 1 point or 0 points, and that's a harsh reality of what's been going on the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've played a back three, a back four. We've changed personnel. So that's when I go on about the collective. It's a whole mentality that we need to try and get ourselves out of. There's no one else that's going to do it apart from ourselves. We have to work together. We have to go away and be really honest as well with ourselves. It's the only way you get better is if you look at everything that you do. And like I said, we take all the plaudits, and we get that when we do well and we win games. So we have to take criticism when we lose games, and we have to be big enough to take the criticism, which I think we are. We also have to just get back to what we're good at. We're good at creating chances, scoring goals, being solid with 2 big centre halves at the back, and we're now thankfully getting boys back, and we looked of ways to try and win the semi-final on Friday night.
The stats are never comfortable when you're in this kind of a darker period here. Could throw X amount of goals conceded. The run of home form that we're so proud of certainly kind of dovetailed off a wee bit. How do we find our mojo again? How do we find that freedom to express that allowed us to be so expansive across the first third of the series?
Yeah, belief and confidence is paramount in my opinion. I think we have to get back to believing in ourselves, believing in our teammates, regain our confidence as individuals and as a team unit, and our work rate. It's not often, and I'm not saying anything out of turn because I said it to the players, honestly with them, we're always going to have bad performances in a season or bad runs in a season. Today just felt a wee bit different, where something just wasn't right, and that's not something I'll label at our boys very often this season. I just felt we were lethargic today. We stopped doing the things that we're good at, which is going to hunt that ball down. Can we get high up the park? And it can happen. I get that 1 or 2 games, but that's 4 or 5 games, and I know we've had a victory Siamese down there, and last week we competed exceptionally well, but the bottom line is bread and butter is the league business. We want to try and win as many games as we can in the league, but if we don't go and do the hard yards and the dirty work, then teams nothing will beat you, because there's some good players.
What did that honestly look like in the dressing room? You were a fair time post kick-off there, so I guess there's been some time for reflection and maybe honesty, as you say. You know, do you go in and talk the players down? Do you leave them with some time to think and pick up on Monday? How do you use those immediate moments after the game?
Yeah, I think you have to be honest, and it's always hard after the game because you've maybe not seen something correctly from my vantage point, and you have to look at it back, and we will look at it back. The players are an honest bunch of guys, they really are. They go out there every week trying to do their best, and I've got no question about that. But we have to also look at the negative sides of where we're not quite there and we're not quite at it. And at times when we're not quite at it, because today we weren't, you know, you can't lose 3 goals at home and expect to win games. You can't lose 4 goals at home against United and expect to win games. You can't lose 2 Queen's Park and expect to win games. You have to be much more resilient than that. You have to be stronger than that. You have to be able to battle through the hard times, and we all know goals change games. We get that, but we scored the game first, so we have to try and swing that in our favour, and not use that as an excuse. But the guys, look, I'm always behind them, 100% behind them every single week, every single day in training, because as I said, they're an honest bunch of guys who are trying desperately to do as well as they can. But we need to get back to what we're good at, and that is our hard work mentality. That is, you know, showing moments of quality in the final third, and, you know, being comfortable 1v1, 2v2, and believing in ourselves. And I'm sure they will. I've got no doubts about that. But when you lose games or you go on runs when you're not winning games, you analyse everything. You always look at yourself first, and then you look at others around you to see how we can improve. Do
you think that you need to bring anyone else in to help address that, or is it something we work through with what we've got?
It's a tough. We've got a lot of good players. That's the thing. You look around our squad and we look at, you know, how much quality we have and experience that we have now as well. You know, players coming in from, you know, the higher division as well on loan, which really helps us. But they just look a wee bit fragile at the moment, and that's, you know, all teams go through it. We see it all the time. We have to dig ourselves out. No one's going to help us. We have to get ourselves ready for a real fight. We have to try and, you know, take the positives moving into the next game, and we will, because that's what we do. You know, we feel hurt, we feel sore, we feel disappointed and frustrated in ourselves, but we also try and look on the flip side and say, like, let's get better. This is a perverse moment where you actually roll up the sleeves and enjoy this sort of feeling, but you don't want it too often.
In terms of players coming in from higher divisions, that comes on, contributed really well to Lewis's goal. It'd be interesting to see what looked like a quite strong penalty shout in amongst it, but maybe the greatest frustration that we didn't really get him running and playing alongside Jack with that injury.
Yeah, done very well for the goal. It was a really good goal, and we scored at a fantastic time in the game as well. We had loads and loads of time left. We didn't work the goalkeeper enough, and that was my biggest disappointment. It looked for me all day long a penalty kick. I'd still be sitting here saying the same about our performance, so it would only have masked, you know, we picked up a point if we scored a penalty, and it, you know, it was a pretty clear-cut one for me. But that's football. That's the way it goes sometimes. And I think you could maybe tell Zach wasn't quite in cohesion with the rest of the boys. He's only training for us once, so it's completely understandable. But I've got no doubt he's going to be a huge asset for us. I think we saw flashes today of his ability and his attributes that are going to complement the other boys really, really well. And I really look forward now to getting a week working with him and getting him used to how we play and what we expect.
Strikes me that it's maybe the biggest test of our togetherness across the wider sense of the club, players, management, and onto the stands and all those kind of supporting volunteers and such. It seems that we're being tested just now. Absolutely,
and it was always going to be a test. We had to be ready for that and embrace that test. We knew it was going to come at some point, be it this season, next season, whenever that may be. But what I will say inside the club, look, it's never in doubt. We are so together. It's frightening at times. We're all feeling really low and sore tonight, and we'll be sore tomorrow, and we'll be probably sore Monday morning until we get the balls back out. And the supporters will be frustrated, and that's understandable. But we have to try and look on the positive side of everything that we do. And again, the perverse thing that it's our next home game here. If we win it, we go back to the summit.
We'll be here to back in that game and everything that comes before and after.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, Ian.